Hey guys, Narwhal here. Haven't made a video in a long time, but I've been seeing waves on the on Twitter, mainly by SAF Cal, who was the leader of the Discord that I'm in, that I've been in for the past 3 years or so, and he's been talking a lot about FIFA and FIFA point addictions, and that's one of the topics that kind of hits home close to me. Um, I don't really talk about much of this stuff because I kind of find it more embarrassing than anything, but I thought that it'd be extremely important for me to share my side of the story and my experiences with this game in order to try to, spread it to everyone else. And the only way that we can move forward is by not being ashamed of it, by kind of tackling it head on, and then being able to try to raise awareness. So essentially, Saf Cal's been posting a lot. If you see him on Twitter, and I'll link it in the description. Um, he's been talking a lot about how EA have been relying a lot on people's addictions and gambling habits to make a lot of money off of people. And this year is by far the worst it's ever been. Thankfully for me personally, this year I haven't spent too much money on the game, but too much money is still a lot more money than, the average player, I hope, or at least more than what the game itself costs. So unfortunately, this year I didn't turn on the playtime part. So over here where it says FIFA point purchase and all that, it doesn't actually give me any information because I didn't have it turned on. But essentially, if you turn it on, you'll be able to kind of track what your spending habits are, how much you're spending on the game, and kind of go about it that way. I know me personally, I'm somewhere between 500 and 800 for this game, which is crazy because that's significantly less this year than I have any other year. Now, thankfully, I've been extremely fortuitous in terms of my pack luck. Like that, I'll just show my team quickly. Um, this team is fully untradeable. I've gotten extremely lucky with all my packs to the point where I have players like Hullet, Eusebio, uh, at points Cruyff on my bench. And, like people could only dream to have a team similar to this. And unfortunately, the only real way that EA have made it to get these players, unless you're extremely lucky like I've been, is by opening packs. Now, in previous years, I'm on PC, so for me the market's a bit different. But in previous years, the only packs in the store were tradable, so at least it would pop up with options on the market to purchase some of the more expensive players. This filter. So, for example, if I search for players, say, well, if I search for players, say for 1 million coins or more, um, like team of the years, for example, this team of the year last year would probably be about 1 mil. I think that's what Teo Hernandez was coming in last year. But meanwhile, the left back now is 4 mil on PC. Players like Lukaku are going for 1 mil because all the packs that EA are releasing are all untradeable, which is making people like even if you have coins, it's extremely difficult to get players like this, thus furthering the push for opening FIFA packs. Now, if you look at the store, um, this is what EA have been doing essentially this year. It's if you go under browse and promo packs, you'll just see countless amount of promo packs, like stuff that you've never seen in previous years, like a 50 times 83 with a 10 by 87, for example. Like this one, for example, I got tempted into opening this one and I did, and I fucking regret it because it's a lot of money. Like this is in Canadian dollars, 12,000 FIFA points is $140. You work for that in a week if you're a part-time student. And it's just stuff like this that EA are taking full advantage of. Now, in terms of how this is affecting me personally, back in FIFA 19, I had a friend who was extremely good at trading, so he'd trade a lot, and he'd make a lot of coins by doing so. This was before I joined any trading discords, and yeah, so he'd trade a lot. So in order to try to keep up with his team, I'd spent literally thousands and thousands. I think by the end of the year, I spent something like $18,000, and I was making 30,000, which is just below the tax bracket. So literally almost more than half of my salary was going into FIFA points. It got that bad. Um, and yes, I got good pack lucks, and yes, it's like a nice thrill and a rush at the moment, but it's not rewarding at all. Like the what EA said is that they can take away your stuff at any point because it's not your property. They're lending it to you, for example. So like, even if I got this Messi out of the player pick, which I was extremely lucky to open, EA could just take it out of my club like that because I don't own it. And it's stuff like that that made me realize that, you're not actually buying property, and you're just borrowing it for a cycle essentially before it just becomes absolutely worthless. Um, and yeah, so this year especially with the packs being one of the only ways to obtain some of the more expensive players, the other thing they've been doing, as you saw during Team of the Year, is they've been releasing high tier SBCs, and a lot of them uh, during times where fodder is hard to come by, for example. So during Team of the Year, a lot of the players that were used for fodder normally were out of packs. Yet they released players like Bruno Fernandes, Alfonso Davies, Zebo was out for a while, Cafu was out for a while, Maldini was out for a while. The Player of the Month Mbappe's that they released. In previous years, like last year, they didn't release a Player of the Month Mbappe until halfway through. But this year, they knew that if they release someone right away, people have to go to the store because an 89 squad is near impossible to craft, essentially, especially early on in the cycle. Um, all this to say that I know that I don't have a big reach. I don't. I already, when I was doing YouTube and actually focusing on it, I didn't have many followers. Like I had a good amount for like the effort that I put in, but it was never anything crazy. But I just hope that more people share their stories and their struggles with FIFA points. I know personally my bank account still hasn't recovered from the time where I was fully addicted to it and I was spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Like right now, I still have 5,000 left on my credit card to pay off. This year, I set myself a financial goal and a plan in order to fully pay it off, and it involves taking my credit card off of the game. For example, one of the ways that EA managed to skirt around gambling laws is by introducing um, limits in terms of how much you can spend on FIFA points, but it's simply not enough because you can manually alter the limit whenever you want. So yeah, the EA need to be held accountable for sure, and it takes the community to make this happen. But as a company themselves, um, they've had the least amount of sales in terms of copies of FIFA, like hard copies of FIFA. Yet this year they've made more money than they have in the past for FIFA 23, for example, and they're just taking advantage. And it's not just gambling in terms of adults doing it, because at least adults can kind of make their own rational decisions. But for games like FIFA, it's affecting kids as well, and it's just getting them down a path that is really hard to dig yourself out of in the future. Um, and yeah, essentially, Canada is where I live. The UK is a big FIFA community. A lot of Europe is essentially a big part of FIFA, and countries, at least Belgium, for example, set a good example of realizing that this is targeting kids and set really strict laws in terms of regulating online gambling and loot boxes. And other countries in the world need to follow suit because it's getting completely out of hand. I was fortunate enough to come to my senses sooner rather than later, so my debt isn't as bad as others. But this needs to be more widespread, and we can't just let EA get away with it. Um, I know I haven't uploaded in a while. Thank you guys if any of you see it. Thank you guys for sticking around, I guess. And I really hope that you guys can spread the message and even release some of your own stories, because that's the only way that this is actually going to spread to the community. Thank you.